Hi everybody, hope you're well. This video was requested by Anabela Djurovic. I hope I said your name right, I'm sorry if I didn't. This video is going to be about breeding fillers and how to use them. So basically how to fill competitions. So what I'm going to first do is I'm going to show you how to use fillers. And then I'm going to show you how to breed them. So we've got this unicorn here. Now, ignore the fact that it's already blopped, okay? We're just going to pretend that we're blopping it and we want to get wins, okay? So we haven't got all 20 wins on this yet. So whenever you decide that you want to fill a certain type of competition, obviously you usually have a blop that you want to win the competition. And then you want fillers to fill, basically to be like the extra horses that go in that race, but they don't win. So that's the purpose of them. So what I'm going to quickly do is I think we'll go with reining for this particular horse. So if we have a look, right? So the first thing you want to identify when you go into competition with your blop, or one of your teammates does, the first thing you want to be looking for is this difficulty right here, okay? This difficulty here. These numbers are important. The other thing that you want to be thinking about is this top skill, whatever skill is in the top of this box. Now in this occasion it's gallop, right? But let's just open this horse up again in another tab, for example, and we'll take it into trail, for example. There's a different top skill here. So there's two things that you want to be paying attention to. You want to be paying attention to the top skill of your blop in this box, okay? Not the actual horse itself. The top skill in the top of this box. And the difficulty that's labeled here, because it's going to be different. So that's the first thing you want to pay attention to. So if you have friends helping you or you're just doing it yourself, once you have decided, right, okay, I've decided I'm going to go into reining competitions and I want to get wins. Okay, you've done that. So the next thing you want to basically be able to do is say, right, gallop's the skill that is affecting this difficulty right here. So the top skill in the box, right, whatever type of competition it is what affects this right here. So we know that it's in that range, it's near 105 skills, roughly, okay? You get some lower ones, like 52, for example, and things like that. So what we're going to first do is, and I advise this if you're filling, is to go for an empty competition. So here's one at 101 difficulty. Click participate, right? So that blop is now entered into that competition. So what we want to do then is we want to look for fillers that we have. Now I've got a bunch of fillers here. If you don't have fillers and you're not sure where they are or whatever, you want to check first. So we know that we've entered that horse into reining. So first off, we want to check for a specialty. A horse is specialised in Western riding. Then we want to look for a horse that's around 105 skills in gallop. Okay, so we've found a couple here that are suitable. Now, just basically, we'll pick one right now and we'll open that up. So we click on reining and we have a look to see, and there we go, we found our horse. So all you would then do is click participate. Now the things to bear in mind is if you use a filler horse that is much better skilled in the two skills here, there is a chance that it could beat your blop. Okay, so if we have a quick look, we'll click on reining again, we'll have a look, and you can see that this horse, our blop, is more skilled than our filler is in those two secondary skills. Now obviously the top one does come into it as well, but we'll not worry about that too much at the moment. So once you have fillers that you've identified that are good enough to enter in, can see the horse, the hardest thing is finding the horse. Now there will be occasions where you go into competitions and it is blanketed, so I'll talk about that in a minute, but you click participate and there your horse is entered. Now the reason I was saying about the difficulty earlier, and you would want to be very aware of what difficulty you're in, is because if you have friends helping you, you want to be able to tell you first off the name of your blop that is going into the competition so they know what horse they're looking for. So in that case I would tell them, well, my blop's called This Will Sting. The second thing I'd want to say is I'm going into reining competitions, okay? The next thing I'd want to say, at around 105% difficulty. So you're going to need fillers, reining fillers at around 105% difficulty. So that's the things that you want to bear in mind when you're doing that. You want to be able to give them the right information. Now, if it's a case, and this does happen sometimes, and I'm just going to enter another reining competition. for the sake of it, right? Say, for example, you'd entered a reading competition and you literally had no idea, what difficulty it was. The thing that you could do is we'll go into competitions in the breeding tab, okay? And then we'll go down to Western and we'll go to reading. If you look in the side, you can see the pending races. So there's the one that we filled earlier, okay? Now, if you had friends filling, of course, they could close the remaining slots. So this is the one here. What you can do is you can take the name of the equestrian centre, copy it, okay? And let's just pretend with our filler that we can't see this rate. Let's just pretend that this competition, all these competitions were like full, you can't see. You go down to find an equestrian centre competition, and you put in the name. And hey presto. So if your friend can't find you, that's another way of possibly doing it. And if they still can't find you, there's other two things have happened. Either the race is run, or secondly, their filler is actually either too low or too high in skills to actually see the competition. So click participate, and there we go. So sometimes you might use shared for friends to fill, and you'll need to sort of do the same thing. But if you're getting friends to help, you need to make sure that you're giving them the information they need to fill properly for you. So those are some of the things to bear in mind. There are a lot of other things that we could kind of go into. I am going to mention one other thing because I think it's kind of important. So I'm just going to switch this to classical. Okay, now I'm going to go into one of these trusty races. So there are some types of competitions that have track lengths, like cross country and show jumping. So if we click cross country, you'll see that there's a little thing over here that allows you to select the track length. Now sometimes, right, if we have a look here, you can see there's quite a lot of horses in there, right? There's a lot of horses in there, and there's not really any empty competitions you can enter. One of the things you can do in show jump and cross country is to reduce the track length. So let's go for 1 kilometer and then click search. And you'll see that suddenly it's not as full looking, but still quite full. So let's click on 6%, or 0.6. Now you can see we've found 2 empty competitions that you could enter. So that's something you can use if you find that you're going into a competition. Now it doesn't apply to all of them because some of the competitions don't have track lengths. The other thing you can do is use rookie competitions if you wanted, but remember if you're entering rookie competitions, you need to make sure that your fillers can see the rookie competitions, because otherwise if you have fillers that can't see rookie competitions and you have blop that does, you're in a bit of a difficult place. And the other things to pay attention to are whether you're entering breed races or if you're entering open competitions. So I'm just going to get a different horse here because, right, click reining. So sometimes something that happens occasionally to me is one of my friends might enter a breed specific competition. So for example, the horse that I have at the minute, this filler is a thoroughbred. So I might enter that competition and I say, oh, can you fill for me? And they might be trying to use a paint horse to fill, and they're like, I can't find you anywhere. Well, that might be because you're in a breed specific one. So you might be better to enter the open competitions unless your friend can fill with the same breed as the one you're entering, basically. So that's kind of a lot to take in, I get it. Practice it, even just go into competitions with some filler horses and fill for random people, but make sure you probably don't beat them because then they might get a wee bit cross about that. But with fillers themselves, to be cost effective with breeding fillers. We don't want skillers in this. So to be cost effective with it, I tend to find that I use lowish horses. I cover them, I age them once a day, and eventually they foal for me, and then I'll train them up gradually until they're at a level. So for example, okay, that you blop I don't know, tikis, okay, and you tend to enter 120% stamina in cross country, okay, so let's go find a tiki that's like that. Let's go find one. Right, okay, so here's a tiki that's kind of around 120%, right? So if we go into cross country, you can see that the difficulty is around 120, okay? Well, whenever you've done that, what you then want to be thinking is, okay, pretend this is a blob. You want to be thinking, well, I need to breed basically breed filler horses that can reach that skill at least, and I need to train them up to that level. So I would then take, doesn't necessarily have to be Tikis, it could be Shetlands or whatever you want, but you need to make sure that they have the capability of reaching it. Like, for example, I'm just going to go to one of my other fillers here to show you. So here is a Shetland, and it only has 41 stamina skills. Genetically, it can have 42. It's not going to reach much more. That would not be any use as a filler for 120% cross country, okay? As you can see, it can't see 120% cross country. Even if I put it up, the highest it seems to be able to see is 61. So that's something to bear in mind whenever you're looking. Look at the genetics and make sure that it's suitable to what your needs are, okay? So for example, if you're on one of the other bigger servers where horses have like 500 or whatever in one skill, or 600 or 700, there's absolutely no point in going and trying to use a filler that has like, 150 in that skill, because they're not going to be able to see that particular kind of competition. It might be good for another type of competition, but they're not going to be any use for that. So those are kind of some of the things to think about. You don't necessarily have to get it right the first time. Just breed a couple, if you have a spare mare that you're not really using, just cover her with some reasonable horses and try it out and see what you're kind of getting, and it'll sort of give you a rough idea of what you need to do. I think that's all I can sort of think of right now. If I've missed anything or you want me to add on anything, then that's fine, just let me know. Thank you again to Anabela Djurovic for requesting the video, and I hope you had a lovely day. Bye bye.